Okay, I'm just gonna start talking even though there's no one here yet, so if you watch it later, you can catch up. So, I took Nino apart on video, so I figured I'd put them together on video. He's not rooted yet, but I always put them together ahead of time, even before they're rooted. Now, because my glass beads are so small, I'm gonna have to get different glass beads the next time because, hi Jackie, because these ones are so small that they go right through the nylons like this. Even if I double the nylon, same thing. So next time I'm gonna make sure I go a little bigger than those ones. I got those ones from Princess Auto. I got a 50-pound bag of it for $50. So what I do, even though I haven't rooted him yet, I still want to put him together so that when his rooting is done, I just connect his head back after it's dried, and away we go. Plus, you know, when the days that I don't have time to root him, I just plop his head on just so I can see him. So, so what I'm doing right now is I'm going to make his butt first, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. And I learned this from someone else. I'm trying to find what I did with my scissors. Here they are. Isn't he sweet? So, for these glass beads, like I said, because they're so small, I just bought like nylon tights instead of those really like regular nylons. So you can see it's like it's much thicker. So hopefully this all goes smoothly. So right now I'm gonna do his butt. So let's see, because I have to be able to tie off the ends too, since I'm cutting it down. It's a lot easier with nylons, but glass will be pouring out of his body if I go to the regular nylons. And these scissors are not made for like this material. It's a real pain in the butt. I've never used this material before. Come on. It's a real pain. So I still gotta give him eyelashes. The brows, his hair is gonna be dark, so I'm gonna put I'm rooting his brows. Hey Chastity. I'm gonna root his brows, so I'm gonna have to make sure that I put very limited, because he's got his eyes squeezed in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tie off this end. This is thicker, so I don't know how well that's gonna go. Sorry, I'm just trying to tie the end out so the beads stay in. Right, Nino? It's not working that way. I gotta do it like this. This is thicker, what I'm dealing with. It's not like regular nylon. No, that's gonna take it in too much. I thought these were full, but they're knee-high, like they're tights without the foot, which is making this a little more complicated. And if I knot it the way I would a nylon, it's too thick. It'll poke through his body. I have big fingers. So I'm going to be working on all week. I worked on Easton, Lulu, and Alma. So the 3 layers a day, each day. Sometimes not every day with Lulu and Alma, because I alternated them. But I'm going to continue working on Easton this week, and I would like to get her for sale in the spring. And then I'm going to work on Liam and Levi Levi and Chase this week. They're both on an advanced tutorial, just born effect, you know, and they're on the exact same layers. So this is where, oops, my soothers are falling off. This is my soother wheel. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I need my little cuppet. So I'm gonna fill this up, and this is gonna be for his bum. I almost got his chest plate caught up, so I'm excited about that. Looks like more like sand than glass, but it is glass beads. They're good, so it is not pouring out of these, because these are tighter. Because these beads are so small that they just pour out of the nylons, which is so much easier. So I want to get thicker glass beads next time. So right now what I'm doing is I'm making his bum. So it's more realistic. Oh, darn it, I had some fallout. It's more realistic if you make them a bum when you hold them. I find. I redid mine. She didn't have, before I became an artist, she didn't have a butt. She was like really sunken in. And I paid for her to be weighted more than that. So I watched a tutorial before I became an actual artist. I watched a tutorial on the proper way to fill the baby realistically. And she was actually on a show and everything, and a doctor who delivers babies couldn't believe the realism as to how she filled the baby, as opposed to one that wasn't filled that way. So that's why I do it the way she does. The only unfortunate thing about these is they're thicker, so the knots are going to be thicker. But I can build... It broke open on the other side. Oh no. All over me too. I didn't tie it tight enough. Oh great. It's all over my leg. Probably on my husky's head because she's right underneath me. She's always got to be right behind me. Or underneath me. Oops. Should have tied that tighter. Here we go. So, fun fact to tell you guys. Hi, Don. I have actually been learning to sculpture the babies. I've been watching tutorials. The one night I was holding my silicone baby, the one that's not painted yet. I was holding her and watching the sculpture for 3 hours. From like she was doing step by step by step by step. And I really want to learn this because I would really like to make my own baby. And I'm going to pay to have classes with her one-on-one. I find it really interesting. I've been taking pottery for years, like pottery classes for years, and doing types of sculpturing and pottery. So I'm going to take that knowledge with me. Okay, so I filled it up, and see the glass beads are staying in this. It's just a pain to put together because it's so thick. And it's all over my leg now when it broke open that because I didn't tie it. So I'm going to stick this. And if I find that it's too much, I can open it up and take some out. No big deal. I want to make sure it fits in his bum. Yeah, I think that's going to be too heavy. So I'm going to take some out. You never know when you start to stretch it out to form it in the bum. So it's trial and error. It's a lot easier with nylons, but I would have to put 5 layers of nylons to hold these tiny glass. So you want to watch the sizing on the glass beads. Make sure they're bigger than that. Okay, so let's try. That feels better. So I'm just sliding it into his body like this. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, glass beads are falling all over me. What a waste. Okay. So once they hit the ground, they're going to have dog hair and whatnot on them. So I'm not going to do that to people. Okay, so I got his butt. So you got his bum cheeks. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put polyfilla in there. This is good polyfilla too. It's nice. To kind of support that and keep it in place, which you definitely want to do. Okay, I'm gonna try and savor whatever I can out of these glass beads that fell all over my leg. There's some on the table here, so I'm gonna try and save that, because once it gets on me or the floor, it's gonna have dog hair on it. Okay. So now I generally have the bum where I want it. You want to do that before you put the legs on. So I always start with the leg. Make sure you start with the right leg. I've done. So the right leg being the left leg. That's not confusing at all. So you do with the leg. So I'm going to fill that. I usually, depending on the size of the kit, I usually fill about to the knee. It depends how heavy it feels, because you don't want it to be too heavy. So let me see. That's a good. That's heavy enough for this limb. So it's about up to here on him, just right in the middle of his knee, right here. And then I'm gonna fill the rest with polyfill. So I'm just gonna stick it in his leg, like so. I have never put them together on video before, so if I start mumbling, just ignore me. So yeah, I'm really excited to learn sculpturing. I'm also learning silicone painting right now too. So I'm focusing on that, but I won't have the paints until May. They're on layaway. So I'm going to practice the sculpturing with Play-Doh first before I put the money into polymer clay. Which isn't, you know, it's costly, you know, it's not cheap. So, and I'm going to do what she did in the video. I'm going to start with a smaller baby. I think he's about maybe 8 inches. I learned how to do the molding and all that. So I'm gonna zip tie his leg in there. Sorry if you can't see it. It's hard for me. The camera's tilted, so I can't see exactly what you see. So this is another baby getting close to getting done. I like to get Easton done so I can sell her as a spring baby. She's getting there, but the Bountiful babies, they take longer because they're so fair. And she is the original vinyl, not the one that people are complaining about. Because she was, I got her before the pandemic. I redid her, so I did her before in Folk Art when I was learning, but I'm redoing her in Ultimate Fusion, which is a professional Reborn artist paint. Okay. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Oops, oops, oops. See, even artists make this mistake. I have to, well, I can do it on camera. No big deal. That would have been bad if I didn't remember. My varnish is down here. Okay, so I don't use rings. That's matte. I don't use rings or caps or anything like that. I use, in order to be able to turn their legs, you need rings. But if you don't want to always have to buy the rings, you can use gloss varnish. And you just, let's see, this is Reborn FX Air Dry gloss varnish. So I'm just going to sorry, I'm trying to find I don't want to use those ones. Okay. So you're just gonna take, is it getting in there? Okay. Take a smaller brush so you don't get it on his body. And you're just going to paint inside the rim where you would put the ring. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, not paint. What? You're going to paint the gloss on like you would paint. So you go all the way around. Sometimes I go over it twice. And then once it dries, you can start putting them together. So it's going to go all the way around. So I went all the way around. And all the way around again. Just to make sure there's no open areas. It's going to make it difficult. Okay. So I got his one leg done. So I'm just going to stand it up because my dryers beside me have a Chase and Levi on them. Here's his other leg. So I'm going to gloss that varnish. Gloss the varnish on. And only use glossy, don't use matte, because that's not going to work. Use gloss varnish. Air dry, of course. Unless, if you're a Heat Genesis artist, use your Heat Genesis gloss and bake it when you, and you would do that when you do your varnish. So you can, when you varnish your baby through Heat Genesis, you can do the gloss around the ring and bake it at the same time you do the matte varnish on the body. But I'm an air dry artist, so it doesn't really matter for me when I do it. As long as I do it, and I almost forgot to, that would have sucked. Those arms will be quick because they're really, it's just a small ring. Make sure you don't get it on the body. If you do, accidentally, like I just did, wipe it off. And if that area shines, just put a little bit of matte varnish and pounce it out with a wedge. I varnished him with 3D Dewy Skin. And, you know, it says dewy, but he come out matte. I didn't even have to add the matte varnish to it. Nice and matted. Okay, so his arm is done here, and I just have to do the other arm, and then I'll start filling his limbs. This dries pretty quickly, so it won't take long. I just do a double layer to make sure I got all the art. See, that was an area that I missed. I haven't been able to work much the last couple of days because I had tropical fish and I changed my aquarium to cichlid. And so I had to rehome them and then clean the tank. I went to PetSmart and got 3 cichlids. Okay, so let me see this leg. Yeah, this leg is good. Okay, so I'm gonna put his leg in here. Zip tie it. Come on, little buddy. That's good. I always push to make sure that this is not going to pull over. If it pulls over like this, if you can see, that it means that it's not tight enough and the light's just going to pop out. So you want to go tighter than that. Okay, now see how I'm pulling it? It's not going to go over his leg. That means it's good enough to turn his leg and not too tight. So I'm going to leave it there. And then I'm going to cut. Careful when you cut the ends off that you don't cut him. These are not the best scissors. I need to get those things that everyone else is using. Those nail clipper things. There we go. Okay, so I got that one. So let's do his other leg. Again, we're going to fill it up to where that knee line, too fast, up to where that knee line is. You wouldn't believe what a pain it is to clean up this glass because you can't vacuum it. It'll ruin your vacuum. And I have a Dyson vacuum. I'm not about to ruin that. Very expensive. Yeah, that's good. So then I'm going to fill the rest of them with polyfill. In his leg. Just keep filling it. Yeah. I got big fingers. I don't know how in the world I'm going to do a preemie, but I got these to help me because my fingers are so big. See? I got big hands. Played a lot of basketball growing up, that's for sure. Okay, let me put just the, you want to make sure it's going in there real good. Olivia's like, why are you throwing polyfill on me? Okay. You want to get it in there real good so that the glass doesn't come out. I don't even have to cap it. I mean, some people will glue like a felt over it. I don't even have to do that because I put enough polyfill in it where that glass is not coming out. See, you can do a shake test. Shake it, no glass. So I'm gonna put this leg on now. I love putting them together. That's when you know your work is worth it. Let's be glad when he's rooted. Okay, buddy. I'm not putting a lot of hair on him. He's just gonna have like very soft, like minimum hair. You don't want to cover his head, you know. I don't think he looks good like that. Not for 3 months. Pull, yeah, that's pulling over too far. I always do the pull test to make sure. Okay, that's good. So I'm just going to cut this one out. Be careful not to cut its cloth body. There we go. Okay, so we got his leggies on. His butt is in. So now we're going to start filling him. Push that polyfill down into the where the genitals would be. You want to push it as far down as you can to support that butt. Now I'm just going to keep putting more in. What's here? So I had this inside of him for when I did his before photos. I don't weigh it. I just put polyfill into his body so I can do the before. So once you get to the chest line, you're going to make a waiter for his chest, which builds the weight in his abdominal area right up in here. So you want to make sure you have enough polyfill. And make sure you're getting it right near the, you're pushing down good, because you don't want to, you want the body to match the thickness of the legs, you know what I mean? So if he has thick, like chubby legs, then you don't want him to have a thin body. That wouldn't make much sense. So I'm going to keep pushing now. I still need more polyfill. I got some more. I have lots of this stuff. You wouldn't believe how much of this stuff I have. So I just put some in a smaller bag for the table. The babies that I redo, I don't change their bodies. I keep them weighted unless there's an issue, but I keep them weighted and I just take the limbs off and leave the body as it is. Unless they need things adjusted, then I'll... Okay, so now I'm going to do the weigher for the abdomen. And this is thick material, so it's a real pain to cut. So just bear with me for a minute. So I've been watching the silicone tutorial by McPherson. I've also watched them by another artist. And she actually is a sculptor and makes her own silicones and does her own pouring and all that. So I've been watching her too. But the paints that I got from McPherson, one of the parts are already added to it, so you won't understand this if you don't know how to paint silicone, but it makes it easier for someone new to silicone, so like it's going to be a little different than the way that artist does because she used Psycho paints. Oh, you know what? I didn't cut that long enough. I'm gonna see if my scalpel will be easier. I moved a lot of things around, so here it is. I'm gonna try the scalpel will cut this better than I can. It's pretty sharp. I use it to cut the vinyl eye sockets. I mean, it doesn't have to be pretty because it's going to be inside its body. Really do this sleeves. Okay. So I'm just going to go across here. I'm going to show you, know what, I'm going to go across the first half, so I'm not doing them together. I think that'd be a lot easier. Yeah, a lot easier for the scissors. If I knew it was going to be this difficult to cut this fabric, I would have pre-cut it before the video. So please just bear with me. Okay, here we go. I'm going to close the scalpel because if that pokes, that's going to hurt. Okay. So I'm going to tie one end and make sure I tied it tight this time because the last time I didn't and the glass busted all over me. I am so amazed by the difference silicone is. I still love my vinyl babies, but holding them is a whole different experience when it's vinyl. I mean when it's silicone. I have to admit, Olivia's been feeling a little neglected. But she's in her bouncer, so her bouncer chair, so she's protected. I still love her. But you know, when you get a new baby, you want to establish a bond. Even though she's not painted, usually don't bond with them when they're not painted. But Nino I did. And her I have. Big time. I'll be happy when she's painted, but I love her nonetheless. So, I did his next wear. So I'm going to put that in his chest. And then this is going to be supported by the polyfill. So it doesn't fall out. He's a good weight for the sizing of his limbs and everything. You know, I will not be weighing his head, obviously, because I have to glue in there and root and all that. So his head will remain with nothing in it until, and then I'll show you guys how I do that, but it's pretty simple. So we took them apart, putting them back together. I also make like support in the back here, so the head is not so floppy. And you want to also create a support in the chest line too. So make sure you push that polyfilla down good. You want the body to match the limbs. It's really important. You don't want them to look like it doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like when I'm learning with the sculpting, you know, you want the eyes and nose and everything to be proper, and nipples on the chest and the belly button, all that. You want that to align. Now, new sculptures are going to make that mistake. Obviously, I know I'm going to make that mistake, but that's how you learn, right? Even master artists and all that, they make master sculptures, they make their mistakes. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is his arms. Oh yeah, that's perfect. It's a really good weight. Feels really natural this way. So we're going to do it little arms. So I have to go get more sand. Right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry if I said sand. This is not sand. This glass beads. It's just feels like sand because they're super duper small. I'm getting a bigger size next time so I can use regular nylons. It's a lot easier. But yeah, this is glass beads. This is not sand. Don't put sand in your babies. Okay. So we're just gonna roll it in. I usually roll paper together and stick it. So unorganized. Let me use my fingers. There, that's better. A little more. And I always shake it down in his hand, make sure it gets right down in his hand. His fingers. A little more. Still kind of light. I'm trying to realistic it to the size. How heavy his arm should be by the size of it. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So now I'm going to fill the rest with polyfill, which I'm going to have to use the bottom of my brush to do because this is really small. And then you just push it down. The more polyfill you put in there, it'll start pushing itself. Ow, I just scratched myself. That hurt. Come on. There you go. This is so tedious part. I hate doing this part. Especially on the smaller babies. It's easier on the bigger babies. Sometimes when you push it in, it pulls back out, which is really annoying. I'm going to go to a smaller one. There we go. There. That brush was too big. It was pulling it out. Once you do that, you want to push it down. Because you don't want to, you want his arms to be fatty. You don't want to have no polyfill in there. So I just use the brush to kind of push it down. Okay. I need more in here. That glass is going to fall out. You want to build it on top so it goes in. He came out wonderful, you know. I really love the Ultimate Fusion paints. And I use the primary method. So he's definitely my most realistic looking baby. The other ones I've done have been good, but I don't know, like after the varnish, I feel that they almost look like a painting, you know, like, oops, wrong tango. Like not like skin. Well, the Maddie I did came out pretty good, but after she was varnished, she looked almost like not as realistic skin. But just like a very nicely done baby, you know. But his skin, the coloring, the underneath it, under layers, everything is like so realistic. Especially in person. Okay, I'm doing my shake test. There's no glass coming out. So I'm going to put his arm on. Now, the arms or newborns, a little more harder to do. You want to put the zip tie in first and get that hole smaller, or the arm's just not going to, it's going to fall out. I'm trying to grab one of my smaller zip ties here. Okay, so I'm going to put it, I don't know if you guys can see the arm. Okay, that's his top. There we go. So I'm going to put it in. Make sure this is the right way. No, it's not. Okay. Okay, so you want to pull it. You want to get that circle like smaller because his arm, the end of his, top of his arm there is small. So you need it a lot smaller than that. Okay. Some more. You wouldn't believe how tedious this part is. It's very tedious. Okay, I think that arm is gonna stay pretty good. Yeah, okay. And then we're gonna cut this off. I usually raise his arm to do that. There we go. I'll fix the ends off later. Now we're gonna do his other arm. I have him on a mat so he doesn't get scratched. So I'm gonna fill his... Oh, I gotta put glass in there. What am I doing? Okay. So I'm gonna use my fingers to make like a funnel. Perfect. Let's get that down, shake it right down to his hands. See, squish, make sure it's in his hands good. I need more. So I'm gonna pour some more. Whoa, it's flying at me. Yeah, that's, maybe just take a little bit out. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So we're going to start pouring it in. If you hear a whining, that's my husky. Probably wants a carrot or a treat or something. Oh, I said the D word. I shouldn't have said that. Come on. Okay, need some more poly. Yeah, that's good. Anything fatty? I gotta get some more in the end there though, so that these don't fall out. Oh, I had some right here and I didn't even see it. So as you can see, this is the tedious part of it. And it takes a while, you know, because you want to make sure it's done right. Like some people slap it together and they look like bean bags. Like, you don't want to do that. Take the time to make them realistic looking. I saw this one girl. She redid a Bradford doll body on it. It looked like a bean bag. It was just, I'm like, girl. Oh, I just need a little more to fill that pocket. So I'm just going to fill this pocket in there. And I do weight his head. I'll be weighting his head a little more than I would another head because realistically he has a large head, so his head would be heavier. I have a goddaughter with a larger head, so I'll be going by what her head was like as a baby. Okay, so we're gonna I'm going to do the arm now. Yeah, I just want to make sure the zip tie going in the right direction. So we're going to make that hole smaller so we can fit the arm in, just like the other one. Make sure you don't do it too small where you can't get the arm in, and then you waste a zip tie. Oops. Okay, his arm, you want to make sure it's right in there. Haven't done this on video before, so it's a little challenging. I want to go a little tighter because it's... Okay, perfect. So, his body is together. You want to do a head test. Now, a head test is to make... Oh, another important thing I should mention is doing the shoulders. Making sure you get that poly in the shoulders, because if you don't, it will not support the head. And you're going to wind up, your cloth is going to start ripping. And it's not realistic, right? To have no shoulders. I'm all about the realism. It's really important to me. Okay, buddy, this should be enough here. Do the head test on the shoulders here. He should have just a little more in this in the shoulders. Because remember, his head's gonna be heavy too, so. But once I zip tie it, it will pull together. Okay, so we're gonna zip tie his head. I'm gonna use one a little bigger because his head is gonna be weighted, so well, all their heads are weighted, but his will be heavier because of the size of his head. Like, almost like the toddlers are. Okay. Go in those shoulders together. So I'm just going to put his, tie down his head enough where I can pop it back in. So I want to be able to pop it off. See how I just did that? And then just screw it back on. Okay, Nino, say hi to your fans. And there he is. Put it together. Oh, perfect weight. This is a perfect weight for him. And then what I'm going to do is he's going to have a chest plate. So his chest plate still needs some red texturing. I can't reach both. Stay, Nino. So you can see. Oh, look at that. That's going to fit so perfectly. Look at that. It just needs, as you notice, it's a bit darker. Well, he also has a big headlight on his head right now, but this needs more red texturing like the rest of him. It's darker than he is, but it's almost ready. And then he'll have this on. What I want to do for his chest plate is I want to use like Velcro straps. You know, you put them on the body, and then I can Velcro the chest plate down and take it off when if I don't want it on. Instead of sewing it, I don't want to sew it on. Or some people just prop it on and take it off, but This doesn't curve. So it's really difficult to do that with this. So if you don't have it forced down, it's gonna just pop up. So I'm gonna get some Velcro and then Velcro inside here, and then I can put Velcro it on and Velcro it off. So, but yeah, it's a perfect match for him. It was supposed to be for Lulu, and it looks huge on her. I don't know what they were thinking on that one. But here he is. I'm gonna dress him for his pictures. I'm going to do that in a different video because this one's already going to be long enough because I had such a hard time putting the thing together. He looks so cute. I got to fix his, add a little more to his lips, the gloss. It's too, and then I want to add just a little more saliva in his lips there. And, yeah, but he looks so great. So cute. So thanks for watching, but hi Hummingbird. This is how the babies are put together. It's tedious, it takes a while. A lot of the artists, when they post the videos, they'll cut out in between, but I wanted you to see what I went through the whole process. Even the mistakes of the glass beads falling on me, popping out. But yeah, so I'm going to do a video addressing him and share that next.